In our society, a college education is almost a necessity instead of a choice. Have you ever considered how many students are able to successfully further their education due to online universities? Although some believe students receive a better education at an on ground university, they're wrong because online universities are just as good as on ground universities. First, let's look at how online and traditional classroom environments can compare. Second, let's observe some of the identical learning objectives between the two. And lastly, let's dissect a certain research study conducted between the two types of universities. First, the main reason people go to college online is not because it's less worthy, but because the online environment provides equal levels of learning at home, just like a traditional classroom environment. Some people may have different perspectives about why online universities may not work for them. For example, it may be easy for an online student to get distracted by outside sources such as television, friends, or family. However, distractions can still take place in a traditional classroom. For example, sometimes students are too busy talking to their friends and peers in class instead of paying attention to their instructor. My belief is that people choose on ground universities because they're traditional and they think that traditional is best for them. They probably do not know that they can still end up attending a college that they do not like, resulting in becoming dissatisfied or maybe even miserable. One other point I would like to make is that although online universities offer asynchronous modes of learning through technology, students are still required to attend classes regularly, work independently, or work with peers. Better yet, the online class environment offers the same resources and studies that implement higher learning programs. Those programs can include degrees, course resources, guidance, and support for students. Now that we've made comparison with online and traditional classroom environments, let's discuss some of the learning objectives that are identical between the two. Online courses contain content that's broken down into concise learning objectives that students can use to construct a body of knowledge. Online offerings are just as significant as traditional learning objectives. It's interesting to note that many online students must pass strict prerequisite requirements. Students entering a course are expected to hold a minimum knowledge of previous courses just like traditional students. For example, online students have entry exams that have to be taken and they must meet a minimum entry grade before they're accepted into the university. In addition, online students have quizzes, threaded discussions, and assignments that have to be submitted to the instructor at a designated time for feedback. This process is no different from the on-ground students who are required to submit to an entry exam, weekly assignments, or weekly quiz. Also, both on-ground and online students are given open booked exams. According to an author by the name of P. Williams, he creates a valuable quote. And that quote states, "Educational content is identical. Design and delivery should follow the demands of your content." In other words, all universities should be created equal. That's a great quote. Within my experience, the same principles applies to the online environment. All courses and studies are constructed to be rigorous and thought-provoking, regardless to how the studies are administered. I would like to think that my peers would feel that it was a waste of time if they didn't learn anything at school, rather than feel as though an on-ground university is the best option for their learning. At this point, we have evaluated learning objectives between online and traditional universities. Now let's consider some valuable research performed between the two types of universities. According to a research study conducted in the summer of 1999 through 2005, within specific universities such as University of Phoenix, Michigan State University, and other accredited online universities, it concluded that there was no significant evidence that implies that traditional universities have a better curriculum than online universities. This study led researchers to believe that the two study groups divided into online and on-ground universities were in fact academically equal. For example, a couple things that was included in that research was ACT scores, grade point average, and total hours accumulated. And that had verified that certain students or those students learned and compared and competed at the same rate. According to an author by the name of S. Gerson, he's the author of Creating a Guide to Online Course Development for Distant Learning. He stated that if there was a major difference between online and on-ground methods of administration, it could only be in the general course number in itself. To me, this quote simply means that a course number does not change the effectiveness of the teachings from the courses in themselves. Both universities demonstrated advanced programming courses in all majors. Over the years, I've learned that college is not about online or on ground, but it's about acquiring knowledge. A lot of courses and credits are needed to obtain a degree. This is not a debate. However, there's nothing that says that a degree or a good education cannot be fulfilled at home, accompanied by online courses. I think that this option is more convenient for certain people, specifically single parents, for example. Students succeed at a higher learning for their future, online or on ground. For example, internet learning can help single moms go back to school to complete their degree. A single mom can study at home and be home with their kids while working towards a degree or education for higher learning. To me, this is a perfect example of convenience. Furthermore, online learning may be the only option for people to pursue advancement in their education. Even though you've heard the drastic similarities between online and traditional universities, it is a fact that attending college online or traditionally will always have preference dilemmas between people. Nevertheless, I think that online colleges are just as good as on-ground universities. You can take the pessimistic view about it and think that attending an online college is a waste of time, or it can be looked at as an exciting frontier that will set the stage for a successful accomplishment in your education goals for yourself.